to New Jersey.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank you. We're all here because of the wonderful alchemy that happened between the creator, the writers, and such a talented cast. And asking you as actors, with both your characters from Supernatural and the new roles that you're moving on to, internally, that's how you connected us to your characters. What was the easiest characteristic of your character for you to portray, and the most difficult to internalize and bring and make real for us?
Great question. I'll start. I would say the easiest was probably the grumpiness of Dean Winchester. And not because I'm grumpy, but because I think I was able to be grumpy through him, which enabled me to not be as grumpy in real life. And then the difficult one was probably...
You were working out your anger issues on set?
Yeah.
All the time?
Yeah.
Great.
Not anger, just...
Grumpy? Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, just my Mark Shepard issues. And then probably the most difficult one was, and this is, I've said this before, was being Dean while Sam was Soulless Sam. Because it was hard for me to play Dean relating to his brother when his brother wasn't his brother. And I felt like I was kind of like lost because I didn't have that relationship on screen that I'd relied on with Jared. And which is a testament to him and how well he did it, because I was struggling on camera because I didn't have that relationship available to me. So that was probably one of the biggest struggles I ever found. And it was surprising to me. I'm like, get your crap together, dude. Like, come on. But it was just, yeah, it was like all of a sudden I was playing blindfolded, and it was difficult for me.
That's interesting. I had a couple of things. What is coming to mind is not terribly flattering to myself, but I'm going to tell this anyway. When Castiel came on the show, he was like, the character was written as this like warrior of God, right? Like he was a soldier and a fighter, and very quickly the character was, over the next few episodes, was rewritten as this sort of like awkward, socially awkward, dorky fish out of water, which I think was the writer's adaptation of what I was bringing to the table. It went from like, yeah, some fucking badass angel to nobody knows how to deal with this weird character. And I think that ended up really like manifesting quite physically at one point. I've told this story before, but you were at the monitors in the other room, and it was Sam was what's his name? He was possessed by Gadriel, Gadriel, whatever. And Bob Singer was directing, and he liked those like grindhouse, like direct, like 1970s style shots. And his idea was like I was going to punch right at the lens, and that was supposed to be me punching out Gadriel, right? You were at the monitors. We did the first take. You're in the other room. We're in the kitchen of this house, and you and Bob and everybody else back at the monitor starts laughing, and you come out and you're like, that was hilarious. And I was like, what was hilarious? And you looked at me like, you weren't joking? And then I got the playback.
was the last punch Castiel ever did. Like, maybe he could just do this.
Kind of true.
That was good, man. That was good. Yeah. And Bob Senior was, he was like, raised in Brooklyn. It was like
he was a fighter.
He was literally a Golden Glove boxer, and he's a southpaw too. So like he knows how to throw a punch, and he couldn't stop laughing. And like to make Bob laugh is like,
yeah, he doesn't laugh.
That's a high bar.
Yeah.
And he was just, it was the silent Bob laugh. It was the and like he'll tear up. He'll like if something gets him, it's fantastic to watch.
Yeah.
And that got him really good.
Yeah, I'm really happy to have brought him that joy.
I don't know why the face has to be this too. Was there a question somewhere?
Can we strike that from the record? I object.
So Misha, you're saying the
Overruled.
physicality of Castiel was easy for you to...
You mean?
So what was...
Yes, his posture. That was the easiest part of playing Castiel.
What characteristic of Castiel is most difficult? I mean,
Throwing a
what was
punch.
the most-
Throwing the punch was. Thank you. I feel like we already went over this. I don't know how much more badly you want me to feel about myself. Thank you.
Uh-oh. Okay. Let's go get her. All right, this is the last question. Hey, don't bring him up on stage. Oh, yeah, no, all right. This is the last question, though.
It's the last question.
You know what time it is?
It's the last question.
No, it's actually 3:30, but it's
The last question.
that's what this is.
It's the last question.
Have a seat.
It's the last question,
This is
everybody.
the last question. Hang on real quick. I'm going to sing with Rob. Is that fine? Okay.
It's the last question. It's the last question.
Feel free to join me.
It's the last question.
Come on, Misha.
It's the last question.
If you want to sing it. Didn't make that one. Didn't make it through that one.
You're enjoying it. I've heard this from backstage
And had no idea what the hell
and
was
had
happening.
no idea what was going on. This is good to know. I mean, it's peeling back the curtain and
Yeah.
seeing the dirty things that go on.
The gross, tired bits that we continue to do.
Seeing the sausage made.
All out.
That was me in Vegas.
Supernatural family, say hi to
Jessica,
Hi, Jessica.
Jessica. What is your question?
my question is, there's so many heart-wrenching scenes in the show. What is the one that got you guys the most?
That's a good question. That's a good one. Mish?
My declaration, sir, Cass's declaration of love. That was that got me. It also was the scene that I had to like put myself in a little bubble and really like protect my actor self for. On Supernatural, I'm revealing something that I probably shouldn't be revealing, but I'm going to. We fucked around a lot on set. Yeah, it's true. It's really true. But that was a scene and a night where I really just had to like let myself be in that scene, and it was also my last scene on the show ever. So it was Cass's goodbye, it was my goodbye to the cast and crew, and it was goodbye to a long run and a big chapter in life. It was very, very meaningful to me in a lot of ways. Rob Hader, who was our stunt coordinator, I was just like, I did something I never did on Supernatural, which is like, I just went off into a dark corner of the stages and sat on a folding chair and just like stayed in the emotional place. And Rob Hader saw me like off in the shadows, and he was like, just took care of me from a distance. He was just like making sure nobody came near me. And I never asked him to do anything. I never said a word. He was just like creating this little bubble around me. And then when for our first AD would like call us back to set, he would say, "Ready for you," and then escorted me so that nobody would like bother me. It was really, it was such a sweet thing to do.
Yeah.
But that for me was definitely, that
I had, because it was such a pivotal moment on the whole the arc of the show was Misha's last scene, Misha's goodbye, Castiel's goodbye to Dean, and I had, I don't know if I told you, I had Maisie, our assistant props, I gave her my phone and I said, will you just record some of these takes from offset? And you can hear her whimpering, literally crying while she's recording. And I've got some like, yeah, because when you see it cut together and stuff, but it was just you and I standing there, surrounded by lights and a camera, and it was just two guys hugging it out and saying goodbye. It was really
Spate was directing, and he would come back from the monitors, and he was like,
yeah,
tears were coming down. Everybody was kind of crying, and it was just like it was one of those moments. It was like the end for a lot of things for a lot of people, and it felt real. I mean, this is cheesy, and it's difficult to articulate. If you're not really within within the experience. But we played these characters for so long that they became a part of us, and that sounds really cheesy and actory, but it's actually true. Like when Cass was saying "I love you" and goodbye, it was like heartbreaking for me.
Yeah. Like
I couldn't discern who was like feeling the feelings at that point. And I remember, I mean, we've had conversations about this, like, that dream you had about Sam and Dean at the end of the show.
Oh yeah.
And when you told me and Jared that, all three of us teared up.
Right.
Like we became so emotionally enmeshed with these characters over time that these things actually felt really meaningful, at least to me. But I think I'm speaking for you as well.
No, and in that scene, and I remember in that scene and when on your coverage, watching you give this beautiful performance, but I was also watching my friend say goodbye. And that was, there were some expressions in there that weren't Castiel. And I remember seeing that, and I think that broke me more than the scene itself, was witnessing Misha's goodbye to Castiel and goodbye to the show. And that was, whew, yeah, I mean, get misty right now just thinking about it. In the same vibe, it would have been my goodbye scene, which was very similar. It was, I didn't go away, I didn't sit anywhere because I didn't need to, because the whole crew left. And they were there for like the first take, I think, and then I saw just boxes of Kleenex and tissues being passed around. And I remember like Robin, our props, and Moira, our on-set costumes, and they like literally had to leave set because they were like just tears watching that scene. And
You also couldn't go away because you were impaled to a wall.
this is true. This is true. Yeah. I didn't really have a choice in that one. That's true. that was a hard one, and that one certainly left because it was you know, Jensen saying goodbye to not just Dean, but also saying goodbye to Sam, you know. And as a fan of the show, and as a fan of these brothers and these characters and these relationships, you know, that scene and the impalement scene were really difficult. I did tell Bob, who directed that finale, I said, "Listen, man, I got about 3 takes in me. I don't know if I'm gonna have much left after that, because this is gonna take it out of me." And he's like, "That's all I need." So yeah, I think I did 3 takes. And it was that was rough. What about you, Rob? What's the scene you remember the most since you're here?
I mean, in terms of emotional, you know, for all of us, that last season, there were a lot of, "Oh, this is the last time we'll do this. This is the last time we'll do this," and it wasn't just the actors feeling it. Like you said, the crew was right there, also experiencing. Like people would break into tears just talking about these scenes coming up that you were going to have to shoot. And so for me, it was very emotional, even though it was like the last thing I shot was like me killing that dog. I know, and I know it's one of your favorites. I know everybody, thank you, big fan of my work. But no, but it was emotional because like that was it. Then it was like it was a nothing little scene really. All I had to do was just sort of stand out in the field and be like, you know, hi or whatever, and be an asshole. But and then that was it. And you came out and you kind of announced to everybody that's Rob's last scene, and like that. It was just like, you know, I'm a recurring character, so I was not there for seasons in a row. But you all are such a part of my life. You know, it was always, Supernatural was always there for me if I needed to go back home. It was there, you know what I mean? And then to think, oh, wow, okay, it's really gone, this is it. So that for me was personally my most emotional.
The scene where we drive away from you,
yeah,
and you're on the ground,
yeah,
and you're yelling, "Don't leave me."
Don't leave me, yeah.
That was hard,
yeah,
because that was really kind of your goodbye scene,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
But I remember, you know, we're like, "Screw you," and we get in the car and drive off. But I remember, like, Jared and I got in the car and it was like, we talked about the weight of what we're doing, like driving away, and that was a heavy moment too.
That really felt, I was, yeah, literally.
And you had never done that.
Yeah.
You had never gone, you know,
there.
to that extreme, right, of, you know, begging and pleading and stuff, and
yeah,
so that to hear you like screaming out as we're driving away, it was like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because we're all such soldiers really on the same team, really, when it comes down to it. It's hard to leave a man down kind of thing.
It was, yeah, it was difficult to do.
Yeah.
Thank you for your question.
Thanks.
Well, everybody, that was the last question. That was the very last question. All right, that was it. There's no more questions. That's it, Jersey. If you've got a question, write it down, drop it in the box, and we will read it. It's the last question. That was the last question. That was the last question. Over here, I'm thinking about it. The last question. There we go.
That was terrible. That was really awful. No, you nailed it. Thanks, New Jersey.